Hello guys, before we get to the actual video, I'd like to just quickly set it up. This was part of our 24-hour charity live stream for Child's Play. If you would like to donate or find out more about Child's Play, we'll include a link in the description below. We'll also throw in links to our social media accounts so you can follow everyone who is involved with this. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and start the video.
Hey there, Josh.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Sorry about that. I guess it was a miscommunication, or I put it in my calendar wrong. I might have guesstimated the time difference. I think that's what it was.
That's alright, that's alright. So, yeah, alright, I'm going to need to change some things around then, because we were just going to go ahead to the next thing, because we didn't know what was going on.
Gotcha. So, we're in the middle of a live stream?
Yes, we are. It's live right now.
Oh, excellent. Hi, everybody. I messed up. Sorry about that.
It's alright, so this thing can happen. We're just waiting for my co-host. I'm going to try and add him into the thing.
Sure, you got it.
So, there it is. Alright, for those who are watching, I'm going to leave the quiz, all the quiz stuff up on the screen, because there's a quiz after this, and that gives people time to try and join it, and all that jazz. So, right, let me bring up the questions.
All right.
You hear, man? All right. So, Ray, this is my our article lead, Spazzy D, or David, if whatever he prefers.
Yeah, I lead all of the articles. I rally them together. I inspire them. It's quite a task, but I do it.
Okay.
In NantenJex, hey, are we live right now?
Yes, we are.
Are all three of us live?
Yes, all three of us are live.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Welcome to the live world of live audio, Ray. I mean, the bullets are live now. It's not like you and your little studio recording things. Things happen.
We don't get a second take? What the heck?
Yeah, I'm afraid not. It's,
now this is going to be very, very unprofessional, but can I get off of Discord as well, because there's a horrendous echo right now?
Oh, is there? Oh, yeah, sure. Then get off of Discord then, yeah. I didn't even realise that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's better. Sorry, I'm now like slightly flustered trying to get everything up on it.
Yeah, you have to. We have to apologize, right? I mean, I just joined as co-host for this particular segment, but yeah, NantenJex has already been doing this for about 4 hours, 5 hours.
Coming to 5 hours, just past 5 hours actually.
Wow, amazing.
So well, it's 24 hours overall, so let's bring... Right, is it up? Is it up?
But you're not doing all 24.
No, that's true. I'm doing 9 of it. I'm doing just over a third of the whole thing.
Wow.
So, right.
That's amazing.
Okay, let's wind back and let's start all of this from the beginning. So, better late than never. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Yes. For those who don't know, Ray Chase is a wonderful voice actor who does the voice of Noctis from Final Fantasy, Roy from Fire Emblem, Elle from Xenoblade Chronicles X, has done many anime voices, and you even appeared in some live action stuff really early on in your career, did you not?
That's true, yeah, a lot of self-made stuff.
Yeah. So he has come on today as both a voice actor and self-proclaimed, like, you're a proper gamer. I think you portray
proper gamer. I went to gamer school. I've done many tournaments. No, I grew up with games, and they're definitely my favorite thing to do. Play video games and talk about them, and really dive deep into what makes a game.
Right. So we're going to start off by, I guess, the biggest thing that you've done recently is Final Fantasy 15, obviously, and I think you've had many interviews about your role in that game, I can imagine, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything you want to say to fans of Noctis and the game before I just completely drop Final Fantasy 15 from all of this and move on?
If you want to hear more about Final Fantasy, there's many a podcast where I talk about all the questions that are normally asked. Especially one that I recommend, I really like, is a Final Games podcast. You guys can support that. He's Liam Edwards, an awesome guy.
Yeah, Liam was on earlier. It's great. I listened to that podcast. That's a really interesting one. It was really good.
Yeah, it's really fun. He has a lot of fun guys from the industry on.
I always find it super interesting when interviewing different voice talent, how people go on to different podcasts or different interviews, and just depending on what the focus of the site is, it's completely different. They're like, yeah, whatever, Final Fantasy. Now, let's talk about that one time you voiced Roy.
Exactly. So
yeah. This is the first one that I think you guys are you are Nintendo only, right?
Well, we're
not only,
but very focused on Nintendo and Japanese developed games. Like, you get Final Fantasy over on our site as well, but as most of the games aren't on Switch, or like you got Final Fantasy Explorers on 3DS, Cloud in Smash Brothers, so we get like certain things. But a lot of our fans prefer that sort of Nintendo thing.
Yeah,
so
we started
Smash,
as we started with a Smash website, so
yes, so that's what everyone knows us for.
Yeah, and then another thing, just real quick thing that I always think is fascinating, is when you talk to, like, for instance, we've actually interviewed all of the different announcers that have announced Smash Brothers, and when you talk to kind of the old school guys, like, we did an interview with like Dean Harrington, he's all like, I don't know, like we're like, what was it like to say Donkey Kong? He's like, I don't know what a Donkey Kong is. But then you talk to people that are more from your generation, like a Xander Mobus. He's like, oh man, I was so excited to do this. So it's such like a big disparity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we grew up with it. We know what Smash is, and I grew up with specifically Nintendo. I grew up playing only Nintendo for the majority of my life. I never had a PlayStation or an Xbox or anything like that. It was all Game Boy and NES and SNES and 64. That was my jam.
Okay, so one of the as I mentioned in the introduction, there were two Nintendo series that you've put your voice into. One is Xenoblade Chronicles X, and the other is Fire Emblem. So
sure,
we'll start with Fire Emblem, as that's I think the biggest series of the two, where you were not only in Echoes, where you voiced the character Fernand, but you were also in Fire Emblem Heroes, where you did Alphonse, the main character, Gaius from Awakening, and Roy from the Binding Blade and Super Smash Brothers. So before this, did you have any experience with the Fire Emblem series?
Yeah, I played. I don't remember what year all this came out, but Melee, Roy was my main character, along with Dr. Mario. They were the two that I always played. I liked the slower, more powerful characters, but not Ganondorf style, So,
man, you must have been crushed during Brawl when they removed both of those characters.
Right, yeah. I thought for sure at least they'd have Dr. Mario, but no, not at all. Completely a waste. I guess they thought Wario was close enough. I don't know. It was ridiculous. I grew up playing Roy a lot in Smash. And then for Game Boy, I played the Fire Emblem that would make you believe it was the first Fire Emblem game that came out, because it was just called Fire Emblem for Game Boy. I played a lot of, and that was really, really fun. I really enjoyed. I was a big Advance Wars fan, and that's what got me into that sort of turn-based strategy thing.
Okay. So that would you say that Game Boy Advance one is your favorite one? It's actually the sequel to Roy's game, where you get to play, or prequel, where you get to play as his father, Ellerword.
It's the only game that I played, the only Fire Emblem game.
Well, then I guess that answers that.
Yeah. The other ones, I guess if Heroes counts, of course I have that on my phone. That's easy. But I didn't have the 3DS or all the ones that came out on handheld systems before the Switch. I just didn't have any of those systems except for Game Boy Advance.
Okay, so you haven't had the chance to play Echoes then?
No, I have. Yeah, I wouldn't know. You'd have to buy a whole 3DS for that, right?
Yeah.
That's the. Yeah, so I went straight to the Switch, and I really, really love that. Once Fire Emblem for Switch comes out, then I'll be able to play it. But for me, it's a big investment to buy an entire system just for a game or two. So it has to have enough of a catalog where I say, okay, that's what I'll put my money into.
Okay. So there's just something I'm genuinely curious about when it came to recording, because you did 2 Fire Emblem games that came out fairly recently. And
Yes.
Heroes came out first, but Echoes is definitely the bigger game of the two, which has far more dialogue, especially because every line in that game is recorded for the first time in the series. So, do you remember which one of these you did first? Like, which one of these you recorded first, or will they happen at the same time?
I can look that up. Let's see. Go into my old thing where I keep track of sessions. All right. I think Heroes came first. Let me think. All right. So this was in 2016, probably. Okay. So in July of 2016 was when I recorded Heroes. And it was just one day, just an hour or two.
Okay.
And Echoes was January 2017. I did Fernand.
Okay.
So
That's quite late for Echoes, considering it came out in May. It only came out like 4 or 5 months later. Or
yeah. I mean, I was not the leads. I'm sure the leads started much earlier. I know for Final Fantasy, what I recorded was always way before what anyone else did, because they wanted to get through the main characters first, because that's the easiest thing or that's the thing that's most important to get all the lines through. You actually need all that time. And then once that's done, then you have all the secondary characters come in. So I'm sure for Echoes, I was one of the later people to come in for that, since I only did a few hours on that too.
Okay. All right. So, let's start with. Before that. So often when we spoke to Xander Mobes, he commented how like the game that he kind of figured out that he was there to interview to do voice recordings for Smash, because but like they tried to keep it a secret as much as possible. And I know this is quite a common thing in voice acting and stuff, because they want to try and stop leaks and all this. So I'm genuinely curious. Did you, going in and already knowing about Fire Emblem before, did you figure out that you were recording voice for a Fire Emblem game?
Oh, it was pretty obvious. I mean, they were very nice. One was Heroes was with Nintendo. I didn't find that they tried to obfuscate it at all, actually. They were very good. But yes, definitely working with other people, it's definitely more under wraps. And maybe that Smash wasn't announced yet or something like that. I don't know. Or it could be that because he played the announcer, he got to say all of the characters' names who would be appearing in this, which would definitely be a big spoiler alert. Yeah. Whereas Fernand, there's not too much I could spoil with that. The Heroes was done with Nintendo directly, and they were very open and excited about the game and the whole conceit of it. And with Echoes, it was with 8-4, a very respected localization company, and they were very, very nice. Very passionate and open about what these games were, especially because Echoes wasn't anything new. It was an old game that was being re-released and reskinned and reimagined, so there wouldn't be too much spoilery stuff that they would have to keep under wraps. Whereas if you're working with other companies, sometimes it's a new technology that they're really excited about that they can't leak, because then other people will try to copy that technology. This was more fun stuff.
Okay. All right. So let's go on to. I guess you already answered for me that you hadn't had the chance to play Echoes. So I guess you don't really.
No, I played it on Kyle's stream. He was really nice.
Okay. Did you get to see much of Fernand, the character you were playing as?
Yeah, we got to battle him for a bit.
Okay. What is your thoughts on the character?
He's wonderful. He's a very upstanding citizen who believes that all rabble should be silenced forever. I mean, really.
I mean, it seems reasonable.
Straight, yeah.
Real straight shooter.
Funny, yeah. He's so mean, but then when you play the prequels, you realize why he is that way. What transformed him into that.
So Ray, are you excited by the prospect that, I mean, as of right now, you kind of are Roy's official U.S. voice actor? I mean,
I don't want to jinx it, man.
They can go any direction they want.
I would love if that were the case, but there's nothing that you sign that says you're the guy. So if they ever come back, wonderful.
I mean, the prospect is still there that for Smash Brothers, if there's a good chance Roy will be DLC for the Fire Emblem Warriors game.
Oh, really? That would be cool. I mean, I don't know. That Warriors game looks really cool, but it didn't look like there was any chance of Roy getting in there.
It depends how they go about doing the DLC. They often pick for different games, and Roy is one of the most popular Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah.
So if they go for popularity, then there's definitely the chances there.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. So with Heroes, you also got to play. Yeah, Roy is essentially a prince character. He's the son of a lord, and Alphonse is also a prince character.
Yes.
And Noctis from Final Fantasy is a prince. You seem to have a very fitting role for high nobility.
Don't forget Edgar from Final Fantasy VI. I played another prince and king of his own. So yeah, it's I think it's because I enunciate. I can do that. So that definitely helps a lot when it comes to playing nobility. I think I go overboard with Fernand. He really enunciates big time.
Okay, so with Fire Emblem Heroes, there was it has a lot of voice actors in it, like tons, and many do different characters. So I was wondering personally how Nintendo kind of went about getting the voice actors for this, and did they reach out to you and ask, hey, you've voiced in our games before, do you want to voice in this one? Or was this something that you had to audition to?
Yeah, the idea of reaching out would be nice. There's definitely you always have to audition for something.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure I auditioned for Alphonse. I don't remember, but I think I did.
Okay.
So that was how that came about. And when they book you for something, it's common courtesy to do 3 roles when you win for something. So they gave me Gaius to do and Roy, which surprised me because I definitely didn't audition for Roy. I would have remembered that very well. So they let me have a chance at it, and I can't believe they put it in. That was wonderful. Really, really cool.
Okay.
I just want to point out real quick. So I went to your IMDb real quick just to verify that it was. I'm like, clearly it's World of Final Fantasy in which you played Edgar.
Yes.
But when and it is. However, when I read your bio, video game fans know him as the lead protagonist Noctis in the best-selling Final Fantasy, 2016, and Edgar from Final Fantasy VI, 1994. I'm like, oh, cool, you voiced Edgar in 1994.
Way back then. It didn't make it into the game. Unfortunately, they realized they didn't have a sound card back then. But
right, but I mean, that was big of them. They're all like, this 7-year-old's got talent. We're really gonna.
Yeah. That's funny.
Okay. So you chose to voice for Alphonse, and then you got given the others. For Gaius, it's particularly interesting because you're not his first voice actor. He had another voice actor called Gideon Emery who voiced him in Awakening.
Yes.
Did they give you any samples of his voice to try and match from? Okay.
We spent a lot of time on that for sure. Yeah. Okay. Listening to his voice because I'd never heard it before, so listening to the attitude, seeing what the character looked like, that sort of stuff.
Okay. So
I'm always interested, based on that note, and this is something I've asked a lot of our voice actors. When you do anime work or any adaptations from another language, do you try to just take inspiration from more of the character direction, the audio, whatever the director tells you, or do you ever actually be like, well, maybe I should watch this in Japanese and try to emulate it in any way, or at least get the gist of it that way?
Yeah, it depends on the project. Most of the time when I'm doing anime, I try to watch the entire anime in Japanese before, and it gives you an idea of what it should sound like. And certainly for level and intention, we're always listening to the Japanese for that. But pacing, and sometimes, I don't know, character-wise, they can go a little over the top, and it sometimes doesn't really play well when you do it in English, when it's so over-emotional sometimes. So we try to steer away from that and ground the performances a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean that's something too that we've discussed here, because you know, there's a difference between localization and, you know, censorship is a big debate we've had here a lot, and because localization is an actual thing, and you need to understand your market, and I mean, things are said differently in English. There'll be different connotation to how it is. That can become a big thing. I guess unrelated to that is you've done a decent amount of work as far as, you know, kind of reboots or in instances where characters have been voiced by others before. In case, do you ever take anything from the previous voice actor's voice work, or do you just make it your own?
I'm breaking up just a little bit, but I think it was, do I take anything that a previous actor has done? And of course, yes, that's always going to be compared to the before, so you might as well what they and understand the character the way they saw it, which sometimes, like, I guess there's animation for him. It's just a picture. So what does that picture bring? Gideon brought that picture. How can you flesh out that picture even more than Gideon did?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now I want to move on from Fire Emblem, because you already answered a lot of the questions I had, especially all the Smash Brothers ones earlier on. Let's go to Xenoblade Chronicles X, where you voice the goofy merchant character L.
Yeah, L sort of.
Yeah, and first off, I have to say I think L is probably one of my favorite characters in that game.
That's awesome. He's really fun.
Yeah, like, I remember finding him and I was like, oh my god, I love him. He's brilliant. So
yeah,
L tries to self-teach himself English in the game. So when you first meet him, and so his grammar is often really off, and he speaks quite unusually, like he's been learning everything from some sort of ancient novel.
yes.
Was it difficult to voice a character where one of their quirks is their odd speaking pattern?
Oh no, it makes it a lot more fun. I mean, for him, it was coming up with this foreign accent that didn't really exist, and try to realize. I mean, I've tried my hand at learning languages before, and you always come across your very first time translating idioms literally, and it never works out in the language that you're going to, because idioms just don't. They are idiomatic in that way. So I put myself in the shoes of L, who was trying his best to communicate, not trying to sound bad, but really trying to be understood. And of course, it always comes out wrong, because the words are always written to be wrong. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, right. So, hold on, I've lost the piece of paper I had written down on it. Give me a sec.
No worries.
So you didn't get a chance to play Fire Emblem because you don't have a 3DS, but did you get a chance to play Xenoblade Chronicles X? I mean, it's a pretty big game, so I can understand if you didn't find the time.
That was one of the things that turned me off from it, was just because I had friends who played it, and just how long that game was, I just couldn't do it. And also, another thing that turned me off was I went to his house and watched him play, and the amount of sound coming from that game at one time is extraordinary, and that would not be a joyful time for me. I couldn't, the text on screen, plus all of the characters doing call-outs all of the time, plus the music has lyrics in it, which also plays while everyone's doing the call-outs. That was baffling to me. So not my idea of an enjoyable video game. So it kind of turned me off.
Okay, so L's quite a different character, I feel like, to the likes of Noctis and Alphonse and Roy and Fernand. So yeah. I'm curious, what sort of character do you have a preference? Like, do you like playing the Princey character more, or is it fun to play a more goofy, less serious character?
Yeah, I mean, they both have their pros and cons. When you get to play a goofy character, you really get to have a lot of fun with it. And I find that the director usually just says, all right, yeah, just go have fun, go do whatever. So you can really take a line and milk it for what it's worth. When you're playing someone who's a little more serious or plot driven, you really need to make sure that your line fits within the scope of the project. So when you're playing a more central character, a realistic character, it becomes more intricate, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's less fun. It's just a different type of energy that you bring to the role.
Okay. So, what was it like doing the voice work for Xenoblade Chronicles X? Because there's quite a, it's like we said earlier, it's quite a big game, and Ellie is like one of the playable cast. So
Yeah.
there must have been quite a few lines to record for that one.
Yeah, he had. I think he was more than a day. I might have only gone in once for him too. It's surprising how much you can get done in a day with voice work. No, I think I definitely came in more than once because we'd done the cinematics, and those take a long time to make sure that the pacing is correct for that. You have to be frame specific when it comes to doing the cinematics, and since he was in a couple of those, that took a while. And then he had his companion quests, and then he had his call-outs, and he had quite a lot of battle call-outs. I remember that taking a very long time to do, because doesn't he do a lot that it's character-to-character call-outs too?
Yes, and there's like a good 15 something characters in that.
Characters in that, so yeah, it all had to match up, and there was a lot where one character would say the beginning of the line, and you would say the end of the line. So that was a lot of work for sure. So working on it was a lot of fun. That was with 8-4 again. That was the first time I had worked with them, and they were. It was clear that they had passion and a lot of history in this industry. They're really good guys who really know what they're doing. So it was a lot of fun to play with them. That was great.
Okay. So we've done a lot of different mediums throughout your career as a voice actor: video games, anime, live action. Is there any that you prefer doing? Like, do you prefer the simple going in for a day and doing the video game ones, or do you like? I imagine anime voice acting must take a while with 20-something episodes usually, and especially if you're a main character in that. It's like it must be like a weekly thing almost.
Yeah, for sure. And some are with you for a very long time. We just did Glitter Force just came out, and that one that one was like a year. I think we've been working on that one. Just going in every week or two and saying a couple lines, and then coming in the next week. And then to see it come out, you realize, wow, that was a really long period in my life. Do I prefer? No, they're both great. Definitely coming in more than once is nice because then you get to have a little bit more rapport with the director and client. But no, I love it all. It's a lot of fun, and they all bring their own challenges.
Okay. So, what have I got next for you? So do you try? So I remember you saying in Final Games podcast that you try and play the game, every game you've voiced in.
Yes.
And sometimes you can't if you don't have the system. But with anime, do you try and watch every series that you've appeared in, even when some anime you've only appeared for like a few episodes in a 50+ series?
I'll always watch at least a few episodes, especially when I get cast in something. I'll watch as much of the Japanese as I can, if not the whole thing, just so I know what I'm getting into. I did that for Anohana, because a lot of these you have at least a little bit of warning. So you usually get the audition, and then when I got the audition, I'll watch a couple episodes, and then if you get cast, I'll watch the rest of it. So for sure, I try to keep up with that stuff. But yeah, it is quite time consuming because the amount of time you spend working on it is far less than the time it takes to actually watch the thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, what do you think your favorite anime was that you did voice work for, both to record and then just to watch as a series?
Definitely One Punch Man was I was a huge fan of that, coming into it and being able to be on that was a dream come true. So that's one that I'm always happy to show everybody, especially because it's not your typical anime. You can really show it to anybody and they'll get it.
Yes. So, Spazzy, do you have any additional questions you want to ask Ray?
What was it like to be the spokesperson for Coke Zero? And no, I'm not just looking at random things on your IMDb. That would be ridiculous.
Coke Zero is the first thing I ever booked. Really, that was right at the beginning, and it got me my first agent. And that's really what agents are looking for, is commercial work. As much fun as it is to do all the cool stuff, if you actually want to make a career at this, you have to have a commercial voice, and that was something that I was able to get on my own and then give to an agent. That got it all started. That was about 5 years ago.
Is that still a big part of your, I guess, workload right now? Is just a lot of commercial work?
Commercial work, yeah. I mean, I book it maybe once a year, but it's enough to keep everything going. I did Welch's last year, Progressive, all these random things come up, and you never know when the next one's going to hit. So you're always hoping, because it's very important.
All right. Well, when I start my Coca-Cola podcast, I'll get you on there. It'll be very exciting.
It's over, right? Didn't they get rid of Coke Zero?
Did they get rid of Coke Zero?
Yeah.
Okay. We need to get to the bottom of this. Wait a second. Coke Zero.
See, I'm not that big of a Coke drinker, so.
Right.
I was.
I don't think it's happened yet, but they are replacing Coke Zero with a new drink.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
With Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. My mind is blown. It's a good thing we had you on today.
Yeah, very informative podcast.
I know this is important stuff for Source Gaming fans that have not heard this yet.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the original intention behind Coke Zero? By the way.
I do. Yes.
I don't.
Yeah.
What's it about?
Well, Diet Coke, men wouldn't drink because it was too effeminate.
So it was marketed really heavily towards women in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, so men would stay away from it. So they just made the same thing, but made it Coke Zero.
And it was so awesome. And man, look at this black can with the red. It's that one. I can think that, and it worked.
Absolutely worked. Yeah. So many guys I know say, no, I'll only drink Coke Zero. Diet Coke, none of that frou-frou stuff.
Nah, man, come on. The Coke Zero and Jack. Man.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got a little Coke Zero talk in there. I do this gaming stuff sometimes, but that's my real passion. Is you ever been to Epcot where they have the different sodas from around the world? Ah, man, great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so this has gotten a little random and weird. I don't think I have any actual questions related to anything that you do.
Well, I think we got through all the questions I had written down in a fairly quick manner. So, unless you have anything else you would like to say personally, Ray, I think we can let you get on with your day. I know things kind of got out of whack with the time and all stuff like that. So
well, I took half an hour and I was a half an hour late. Then I guess you guys are back on schedule again, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty close, yeah.
See, all along.
I always think it's kind of a fascinating thing with voice actors in particular too, that if we in the time when we interview people that do some just physical acting as well, they can usually talk about something, but whenever I talk to any voice actors, I'm like, so anything upcoming, anything you want to plug? They're like, we cannot discuss anything we're doing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we never get a chance to. And it's tough to keep a secret for years and years. I mean, Final Fantasy was 2 years. What was another one? There's another one I always bring up. Yeah, but it always takes a million years to get everything done. And it's tough, really tough to keep it a secret because we're as excited as you are about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you. I'll start the campaign now for you to voice Roy in the next Smash Brothers. We'll get it done.
It would be so cool. It would be so cool. That would be the dream. I've definitely Googled people who put mods in where it's my voice as Roy, and that was awesome. It feels really good. So even if I'm not in it, at least I can watch those mod videos.
Oh, okay. Well.
Oh, wait, I did have another question. Now that I think about it.
Okay.
So Ray Chase is your actual name?
It is my legal name. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I was born Ray Chaffetz.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I'm like, Ray Chase sounds like he's from like a Flash Gordon serial, or maybe like Star Wars or something.
It was the name of Hulk Hogan in the movie Secret Agent.
That is
Let's see if I can look
deep
that up.
cuts.
Secret Agent Club, 1996. He was a toy seller who was a secret agent. So yes, it is a great secret agent name.
Fantastic. Okay, like we got to the bottom of it. I feel like we got a lot out of this interview. Actually,
Yes,
I'm
quite a good time as well.
Try to be educational and have news and all sorts of great stuff.
Okay.
All right.
So, where can people find you at, Ray, if they want to? Follow
Twitter
you
is always the best. Just at Ray Chase. Real
at
simple.
Ray Chase. Okay. All right then. And Thea, thank you for coming on for this interview. And I hope you have a good day. I hope that the rest of your Sunday is nice and relaxing.
Thank you. I'm glad I got on at the right time. Cheers for having me on.
No problem. All right. Then have a wonderful day.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ooh.
Okay. So, thank you. So, all right. There we go. Now we're getting back on schedule. The quiz is going on. In fact, the quiz is pretty it's almost halfway over. It went a lot faster than I expected it to. So, currently on question 11. Have you looked at the quiz yet, Spazzy?
I mean, I've seen it going on. I haven't looked at the quiz in any other fashion than that.
Okay. There's not many people in there. I think it kind of got overshadowed by the fact that we were talking to Ray Chase and all of this. But
yeah, I mean, most things are having about 4 or 5 answers, so meh.
It's chaotic.
a little bit.
Well, the next thing up is the Super Smash Bros. For Wii U tournament. So once this quiz is done, I'm going to bring up the screen and just enter it if you haven't already entered it. Just look on Twitter for the ID. I'm going to also put the ID on. Everyone wants to get their Wii U's ready. We can have a little hour-long Smash Bros. Tournament. It'll be great. So you going to enter that, Spazzy?
I need to set up my Wii U. It's this weird thing where I have a Nintendo Switch now, so I don't really play my Wii U. Which they need to. I think we can all agree on this. They need to I would be 100% fine with almost like just a straight port right now. If they said, hey, here's a port of Smash Wii U exactly as it is. Also, there's a Smash game coming out in 2 years. I'd be fine. I just, would rather not have to use my Wii U all the time.
Okay. Yeah. Well.
Although I can I can mod my game so that Ray Chase is voicing Roy. So that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Now you can all have it. You see, what he needs is a remake of Roy's game to come out on the 3DS or the Switch, I guess. Actually, not 3DS. That'd be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Roy's game is one of the more likely to be remade sooner than later sort of games. You know what I mean?
Well, if they're going in the right order, then it should be Genealogy of the Holy War and Thracia 776 next, and then it will be Roy's game. Like, that's the order it seems to be heading in, unless they decide to do Lynn and Eliwood's game first, because it is a prequel. And it's also more popular, so...
Yeah, I never picked up Echoes, but I think I will. That seems like the sort of game I'd like. I like the entire dungeon concept of it. I think it makes it a little more... I won't say interesting, but, different from your standard Fire Emblem, so...
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, last question. How many individual Nintendo IP have been referenced throughout Smash's history? Do you know the answer, Spazzy?
A lot.
How many different Nintendo IP have been referenced in Smash?
I have no idea. I know that. Did you do an article about this?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I was about to say. I know that you did this article. I don't recall.
And the answer was 109.
I was gonna guess that just based off of like kind of common sense, not common sense, but when you look at how answers are formulated on multiple choice tests, you're like, it's usually not going to be the largest one on this, but you know, there's such a disparity between the other ones. I knew there had to be over 100.
Okay, so that was a very.
So who's winning?
That was a very quick quiz. The quiz actually just ended. It was very quickly done. It kind of got vastly overshadowed, but oh well, what do you do? So the winner was JG who got 14 out of 16 questions right and 16,000 points. Followed on by that is L, who got 11 out of 16 questions right and 11,000 points. And after that was Elios of the Abyss with 5,359 points and 7 out of 6. So congratulations to the top 3 players. If we ever try this again, hopefully I'll set it up a bit better and more people can enter. So yeah, guys, coming up next is the Super Smash Bros. Tournament. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get up on the screen the thing. It starts in about 13 minutes. So just hang tight and let's listen to some tunes while we're waiting. So Spazzy, I'm going to jump off the thing to get this all organized. So I hope to see you in Smash.
Yep, we will settle it in Smash. All right.